Welcome to a new edition of our show titled Speak of Africa. For the show of today, we've brought to the studio a very important guest. The name of this guest is Sisiku Christmas Ebini. Most of you who are familiar with the Anglophone struggle probably have heard the name Christmas Ebini because he basically helped in the internalization of the Cameroonian struggle abroad. For the show of today, we decided to bring him because we want him to shed light. Most people look at what is happening today as an after effect which is sudden or chaotic. We don't think so. There is method in the madness. Whatever is happening today is a consolidation of what has been happening in the past. What is unique about Sisiku Christmas Ebini is that he knows so much about this struggle, but for so long, he's really been quiet. Nobody has really heard from him. Because of our closeness with him, we decided to convince him to come to this show and shed light on this struggle. Where is it going? Where has it been? So this is somebody who doesn't need much introduction because he's well known in the Cameroonian community. For those who do not know Sisiku Ebini, I will let you know that he is really a community organizer, just like President Barack Obama. He has spent much of his time, even though he has a lot of academic resources, he has spent most of those resources for the benefit of the community. But he is also known as a lightning rod. Most people don't know much about him. He's always very controversial. So to set the record straight, we decided to invite him to the studio so that he can talk and defend himself. Good morning, Mr. Ebini. Welcome to the show.
Prince, yeah, I was just laughing when you were making your introduction.
Okay. Why are you laughing?
Well, yeah, I mean, you said some very correct things and some very funny things. So you say I've been quiet, but I've not really been quiet. Victor knows that I've not been quiet. So.
Yeah, well, so you've been quiet because you know so much about this struggle. It is like something that just happened suddenly, but you know that this is something that has been going on for a long time. So take us back to, say, 1993.
Well, 1993 is historic. Before 1993, you know, we've had stages of Cameroon, Southern Cameroonians agitation from 1972. Mm-hmm. Because the crux of the matter, if we're going into history, you should know that the Francophone de la République and France plans to absorb Southern Cameroons had been progressive.
Okay.
From the very first time we came in, October 1961. I don't think they were genuine about wanting us to form the kind of federation that they agreed upon, the two-state federation of equal partnership. So for those who know history would know that things started going bad because we came into a Cameroon that was having the UPC insurgency, where the people who were rising up against France continuous colonization of La République du Cameroun, then we were not with them. So 1962, there was a special order that was passed in the Assembly, in the Federal Assembly, that gave the president sweeping powers, which those powers Paul Biya is still using.
Yes.
To the sweeping powers under the pretense that he was fighting the terrorists, they called them Makiza in those days, that he was fighting the terrorists of the UPC rebellion. So Ahidjo, getting those powers, started very progressively. And most of those powers that he had, besides the dictatorial actions that he took towards his opponents in La République du Cameroun, they were designed, those powers gave him more leeway into eroding completely what is Southern Cameroon.
Okay.
So in 1965, we came, though it wasn't perfect, we came as Southern Cameroonians from from the plebiscite of 1961, having been with some semblance or some democratic practices within our territory. So we had multi-partyism, and in a very fierce, we had fierce political debates of opposition and all that, but it was not like contentious as it is today. So Ahidjo did not like, and the French did not like, our democratic spirit. And so 1965, they abolished multi-party in Cameroon. That was the beginning of the end for us as Southern Cameroonians in that union. So 1965, they erected the CNU. Cameroon became a one-party system with the president having all these powers to determine life and death about the lives of not only the citizen but the nation. Emboldened by this, 1972, 20th May, of course, all of us know, after having compromised most of the political consciences of the Southern Cameroonian political leaders, he went ahead and organized an illegal referendum. We know this history, it's good to tell it, but for me, when you say that I'm remaining silent, is because we have gone past this. We are in the action phase right now.
Which is good.
So I can still narrate it because that's part of what you want for your show today. And so Ahidjo was emboldened, went against Article 47, which was very specific. Article 47 of the 1961 Federal Constitution. And that article stated very clearly that no action, no political action whatsoever was to be taken to change the structure of the union between La République du Cameroun, the Republic of Cameroon, and Southern Cameroons. So he went ahead and did that. And we went, everything that was Southern Cameroonians, all our structures were being eroded. Our banks, our airports, our infrastructures, our hydroelectric units, everything, CDC, PAMOL, everything. So we became now very subservient and dependent totally and completely on Yaoundé. So whatever was going on with our people, and let me also state here, if you read the book of Dr. Professor Antonin-D, because many people believe or they think that Southern Cameroonians, following the referendum of 1972, did not do anything to try to resist the actions that Ahidjo was taking. And when that was done, all the Southern Cameroonians who were in the National Assembly in Yaoundé, as is narrated in Dr. Nd's book, assembled with Foncha, assembled at Bernard Follon's home. And they were going to plan what action plan they could take or to walk out of the assembly. And Follon told them that, hey, look, you guys are not ready for this. This is historic, but I'm bringing this will come to the present where we are now.
Exactly. That makes a lot of sense.
Say you are not ready for this thing. These people will crush you. And at that time when they met, they knew that they walked out of the assembly and they met at Follon's house. Already by the time they were meeting there, their house was surrounded by armed men sent by Ahidjo. So Follon told them that you're not ready to resist any this type of action. You guys go back to the assembly and let your children fight this fight. We are the children today.
Thank you very much for that history. We decided to get this historical perspective because it is also supported by even foreign writers like Professor Willard R. Johnson. Whatever you've said is really collaborated even in this book also. But for us, we really want to know the contribution that you, Mr. Ebini, how did you get involved in this struggle? You've told us the history, but let's get to you in person. How did you get involved in this struggle?
1985, I was in the United States. 1985, I was in the United States in graduate school, graduate business school.
Okay.
And rushing to finish my MBA and returned home.
Okay.
And I read a message of Paul Biya sitting in his office and changing the name of the country from United Republic of Cameroon to the Republic of Cameroon. I just said, that is it.
Okay.
I said, Biya has planted the worst seed in that country, and it's not going to be the same. You should understand from what I just narrated.
Yeah, so you could
two people came together. We can understand the illegality of Ahijo in 1972, because Ahijo was at least played like a con man. Even though he was doing it, he pretended to legalize it by using a referendum. You understand?
But Biya did it.
But Biya sat unilaterally and changed the name of the country. What did that mean? I mean, Molanjo and everybody, many people have narrated this story, and we have said it so much, and part of my silence is that we have spoken this history, we've written it, and begged these people for dialogue for a very long time, and it got to this. So Biya got so emboldened with whatever was in his head and changed the name of the country from the United Republic of Cameroon to the Republic of Cameroon. The implication of that, is that either Biya has withdrawn from the union with Southern Cameroons, or he has absorbed Southern Cameroon, and Southern Cameroon no longer existed. Now, this is the thing. When the reunification took place, what we understand is that Southern Cameroons died. La République du Cameroon died. And that's if there's a genuine negotiation. And they came together now to form the Federal Republic of Cameroon. Let's say we are very angry still with 1972. Let's be angry. But we can even look at, say, United Republic of Cameroon tells a story that there's something that is united here. Then it goes to the Republic of Cameroon. Why? How did these people get so emboldened to think they can do that? They planted the seed of which we are suffering today.
So when you see what is happening today in the northwest and southwest areas of southern Cameroon, how do you explain it?
Well, let me tell you what happened. Like I'm telling you, 1985, the path, stupidly, the path that the Republic of Cameroon and French thought that they have found. They thought that they had a niche that they can use to absorb us. That's they planted the seed of divide between the Northwest and the Southwest. And if Biya could be so emboldened, it's because never in his imagination did he think that on this issue, Northwesterners and Southwesterners would come together. So he got so emboldened thinking that we will not come together. So now that little seed, that little disease that they put in us, that they thought that they can divide and rule us and absorb us and everything, baffled them. Baffled them in 2016. Because if you can see, I spent most of my time, because my own diagnosis too was that the reason why we cannot really beat these people and stand up for ourselves is because we are having this Northwest-Southwest divide. And I spend most of my time writing about it. You sponsored my activity of the Cryer Foundation of the Northwest-Southwest divide.
Yes, and I myself too, I also like the idea that the Northwest and Southwest should work together, because my family is a beneficiary of this relationship. My father received a scholarship to study in Canada from Power Function's house. And most of my father's closest friends are like Achide Achu Simon. Achide Achu Simon was my father's classmate in Camp Babili. So I've always liked the idea of the Northwest and the Southwest to be together. So when you see what is happening now in the field, the young Ambazonians are fighting, they are taking up arms to fight this Biya government. What do you think happened?
Well, people got pushed to the wall. People got to a position where they got so hardened that sometimes a man got to do what a man's got to do.
Okay.
And sometimes it's better you die a good death than to still die slowly of maybe rat poison.
Okay.
Which is what the works of La République is doing to us, giving us rat poison that we die slowly.
Okay.
So I think I can tell you that a new era came on board.
Okay.
We of the past planted the seed.
Thank you very much.
We kept some of the flames going.
Thank you very much.
And then it became time for a new period. A new generation of our people came on board.
Okay.
To the point where when we trace it, we go to the lawyers and then the teachers.
But you, Mr. Ebini, it looks like you've really been at the root. Almost every important leader of Southern Cameroon, you know the person. How did that happen?
Well, and it happened because I have worked with all of those leaders.
Okay.
Yeah, and when in our time, when we start looking at leadership in this Southern Cameroon struggle, we go to Fon Gojidinka.
Okay.
Because he's the one, first of all, whom in 1985 that I'm talking about, came up with a really big revolutionary idea, creating the state of Ambazonia and its rebellion, when nobody knew anything or nobody cared very much, and everybody was afraid. Anybody who cared even was afraid to make any statement.
Okay.
So for the Fon Gojidinka, I did not know Fon Gojidinka personally when he was in Cameroon, because I was still a very young man.
Okay.
Not very young in 85. What I mean is that I was in the US when he wrote the new social order.
Okay.
And that declared the state of Ambazonia. So, and I admire the courage.
Okay.
I never met him, but we were kind of having that spiritual revolutionary connection.
What about Albert Mukong?
Albert Mukong, I have a good story. We, just like people read their heroes when they are children, I read Albert Mukong's book when I was Prisoner Without a Crime when I was a young man. And then I met Albert Mukong in 1991.
Okay.
I met him in 1991 when he was returning to the country.
Okay.
After his, that was his last exile.
Okay.
You know, the last exile that he went into after the Yondo Black case. So I went to receive him. At that time, we had been very active in the Cameroon Anglophone movement under Dr. Enonchong at that time. So I invited Charles Taku, and Bate Bisong and George Ngwane to come meet me in Douala. Let's go receive Albert Mukong. So, Charles Taku and Bate Bisong could not come, but George came, and we went together. That was my first time of meeting Albert Mukong.
Okay.
So when we went to meet Albert Mukong, my plans were that when he leaves the airport, to show that unity and endorsement, he should go straight to Dr. Enonchong's house, the chairman of Cameroon Anglophone movement at the time. And so some forces came, his family came, and they were blocking me, that they would not want me to take him to Enonchong's house, because already there were people who were seeing certain manipulations by Enonchong in the way he was going about the leadership. So when he came, I knew that they were going to block me not to do it. So that was the first time in Douala Airport I met him. So I saw Albert Mukong coming out. I rushed and went and embraced him.
Okay.
And I whispered in his ear that this is what, before they knew it, he had already agreed with what I wanted.
Okay.
So that's how we formed a relationship.
Oh, that's good.
We formed a good relationship until he became the Secretary General of Cameroon Anglophone Movement. And you know, as you know, that I am the only Cameroonian who left Cameroon and came to one of those trips that Albert Mukong made to the UN and all the like with him. So he called me his political son, and I called him my political father.
Yeah, you must have a whole lot of courage, because I've spoken to a lot of your students. You've suffered a lot from the hands of this regime, but nobody even knows about it, and I know you don't like to talk about it. But just tell us, what are some of the physical sufferings you've had from this government?
Well, when I left the United States, my first station was Mondemba. I chose Mondemba myself. I started to be an economics teacher. I joined the civil service as an economics teacher. My first station was Mondemba. The very first semester I went to Mondemba, I knew things were not going very right.
Okay.
So
what happened?
Some friends and myself, we opposed the visit of the Minister of Public Service who was coming to the area.
Okay.
And we wrote a pamphlet that we circulated called The Viewpoint.
Okay.
And in that viewpoint, we criticized the government as civil servants, you know. We criticized the government, and we got arrested and locked up. From there, that's where I wrote. That's where I wrote this book.
Okay, read.
I started Partners in Prison.
Okay.
That's where I started writing.
It's a book of poems.
A collection. The first poem that I wrote was Partners in Prison.
Okay.
And that poem was so popular that it was published. You will not believe it. Even Cameroon Tribune published the poem. Okay. Almost all major papers and magazines in Cameroon published it.
And of course, we also have the Echoes of Mount Mary. We saw a lot of it in the Cryer Magazine.
Yes. Echoes of Mount Mary is informed, came out from the AAC one in Boya.
Okay.
And then this one, Black Latino, is right here.
Okay.
So I was locked up many times in Cameroon, and
were you just only locked up? Were you not physically beaten?
I've been beaten, but to tell you the truth, that's why to be a prisoner of conscience, sometimes if you stand for something and you're a prisoner of conscience, it could be a blessing for your own edification.
Okay.
Because it gives you time to reflect. It gives you time to harden you against certain things and to be courageous that you don't really care about bodily harm, if only you don't compromise with what you stand for. I had very good experiences being locked up in Cameroon, because most of the police people, they were doing their job, but they knew that we did nothing wrong.
Okay.
And sometimes, even to tell you the truth, there were times when I was locked up, and some pal would come, like the first time we were locked up in Ekono Titi. My father's friend, Mr. Tambe, of late now, Ebini Tambe's father, came and said, you people, my son is not going to sleep on that dirty floor. And said, I'm going to sit here, or I must bring a mattress for him to sleep on it. Okay. And then most of the time we have even our colleagues who come and visit, and they will allow, even the commissioners, some of them, I mean, especially Anglophone, they would go and send their relatives to bring us food in jail. So some of the times when we were locked up, we were feeding people in jail. At that time, the cruelty, especially in our region, in locking up people, had not gotten to what it is today.
What is it like today?
Well, you watch and see. These guys are really, if somebody told us prior to November 2016 ongoing up to September 22nd, 2017, and then October 1st, 2000. If somebody ever told us that the people we're living with, that the people whom even part of their blood flows in our veins can be this savage, we will not believe it. I never believe that this government, Biya and the Francophones, would get to this level of just, and then for a people that they want to stay with, to go to this level
of killing them,
to
burning their
inflict
houses,
this kind of harm, this kind of genocide, this kind of terrorism on our people, I would have not believed it, to tell you the truth.
So it is whose fault? Is it Paul Biya's fault, or it is the people around him? Who should be blamed?
Paul Biya, let me just say this. Without the barbarism that he's inflicting on us, which he has always inflicted, Paul Biya is already a criminal.
Okay.
He is a constitutional criminal. He planted this seed of divide amongst us. He has manipulated the law to remain in power. Anybody there is, my goodness, that we have PhD, educated Anglophone, who are serving a person like Paul Biya is something I don't believe what education those people got.
Okay.
So whatever is going on is Paul Biya.
So why is it that the international community doesn't want to hold him accountable?
No, let me come to that. Paul Biya first, he is the king of the evil.
Okay.
He is responsible for his own country.
Okay.
But let's leave it and go on another side. Let's say the people.
Okay.
When we started this thing, even in our hearts, we still carry love for our Francophone brothers and sisters.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
We as a people, we develop the human warmth, the human spirit, to even integrate ourselves without the government's manipulation.
Okay.
When we hear Makosa, all of us dance. We hear Mangambe, all of us dance. We all integrate, we intermarry ourselves.
Yes.
We eat the same food. We've made our food that were local food, national food. That,
yes.
A Northwest woman would cook bongo chobi, would cook a Manu woman would cook achu, a Douala woman would cook eru, and all. This is where. But if God would tell me, if there was any way for me to believe that those our brothers and sisters can be this indifferent to what is happening to us, that's what beats my imagination. That's what hurts so much.
Okay.
Because if it was just Paul Biya, we could take the love of the people that we have and stand together and fight the evil politicians that are bringing this. But we've seen that Biya is just an embodiment of what the people are.
Okay. So why is it that the international community does not want to hold Paul Biya accountable for these crimes? His son Abre is in jail at The Hague. Why is it that Paul Biya is walking freely, a man who should be a criminal in jail?
Well, I hope that the experiences we are facing now should make us understand how the wheels of the international politics work.
Okay.
Because the same thing is hypocrisy.
Okay.
Total hypocrisy.
Okay.
It's just the same. It's just the same thing now. All the things that the Western world told us about the Bible.
Yes.
They told us things in the Bible that were convenient to them.
Yes.
But those things are changing when it's becoming convenient to them.
Yes.
Let's take homosexuality, for instance. Because it was not convenient for them at the time, homosexuality was wrong.
Yes.
Now it is convenient for them, it is okay.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes.
That is the same way this nonsense they call international community works.
Okay.
So what we must learn, we've spent a lot of money.
Yes.
We've spent a lot of time. We've spent, I would say, not necessarily in this magnitude in which we are. Many of our people and our organizations have spent a lot of time and resources making diplomacy, trying to do outreach to the international community.
Yes.
For them to see what is going on in this country, to stop it before it gets to this level. They don't care. Why? Because they benefit from those people in the government.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Paul Biya comes to the International Monetary Funds, takes money as loans, right, for the country. Your child's children's generation, about 4 in line, are already indebted before even their parents are born.
Yes.
For the money that Paul Biya has taken from the IMF, right?
Yes.
That money does not live here because what happened? That money does not go to develop Cameroon. That money is taken by Paul Biya and his cronies, stolen out of Cameroonians, dumped back into the Western world.
Thank you very much.
And then they indebt us and our generations to be paying for it. So that's how the international community. We have to take care of ourselves and force the hands.
So what should we do specifically? With all your education, tell us, you've been a leader, what should we do?
Resistance.
Thank you.
The resistance that is going on now, we support it.
Thank you.
Let me tell you something. God planned this thing for us. I have said it before. It's not by accident that the gates of traveling open, that anybody can come to the West.
Okay.
In those days, there were privileged children who came to the West.
True.
Now anybody can find his way here. God is allowing that to happen because we are planted here to take care of what is going on back there.
Okay.
God has opened another avenue that I never knew could happen.
Okay.
The refugee issue.
Yes.
Fighting force.
Okay.
If we sit down here and we do not use what God has given to us to protect and free our people, then we are doing worse to our people and that nation and the struggle than Paul Biya and Ahijo and the French combined.
Mr. Ebini, you created ACCDF, All Cameroon Cultural Development Foundation. What are they really doing in this struggle? I know you are no longer the leader, you gave the leadership away to other people. What are they really doing to continue the revolution with the spirit of their founder, Mr. Ebini?
The ACCDF, the acronym for All Cameroonian Cultural Festival Foundation. I created it because when I came here from Cameroon in 1994, there was so much division in this community.
Okay.
And my intention of creating the ACCDF, my first wish was to bring the Northwest and the Southwesterners together.
Okay.
But when we met, we had our initial planning meetings in Fonanyangwe, the late Fonanyangwe's palace. We decided that we should include the whole community.
Okay.
That's how the Francophones were brought into it.
Okay.
Now, the vision, at that time, there was still this lingering hope in our mind that Cameroon can stay one as a federal nation. So we did not have any problems with our Francophone brothers. The ACCDF was very successful. I ran it, I created it with friends and ran it for 4 years before stepping from the chairmanship of the ACCDF. We did very well, and it was very liked. It was a very powerful organization, and it's still existing because I have served in the board. I have served 2 other presidents as a member of the board of trustees after me. 2 other presidents, Ivo Tassong and just Chairman Justin Bienda. And now it is under a different leadership. But let me confess to you right now that given where we are today, the idea and the philosophy and the intentions we had about the ACCDF is totally obsolete to me.
Okay.
It doesn't apply anymore because I don't see myself associating at that level with Francophones anymore.
Okay. So what do you want now? Do you want secession from La République?
We cannot secede. We are restoring.
Thank you very
There's
much.
we don't secede. The person, if you want to accuse anybody of secession, you accuse Paul Biya by his action of changing the name of the country. We are restoring and we are resisting.
Thank you for the correction.
Yes.
So, Mr. Ebini, you've done a whole lot of work. I know you're a very humble person. Most people don't really know the work that you've done. When we're preparing for this show, we went on YouTube. You have so many videos. Just highlight some of them. I will start first with the video you did on Your Best Wife. What can you say about that video?
You know, one thing when you're a revolutionary, it doesn't matter. It's just like I have if we go even with in the demonic setup of the Francophone, you can always find some sense, right? And for those of us who are who grew up as Pan-African revolutionaries, we embrace most of the people who have stood for right things from wherever they come from. That's how we celebrate the Mandelas and all those other people. And so I have always had a lot of admiration for the UPC resistance.
Thank you.
And so I got so lucky that my junior sister of late, the person who was interpreting from Bassa, lived just in the same place where Omiobe's widow lives.
And you also went to the grave.
And I went to the grave. One thing that impressed me so much, I never have these people to even do anything right. But one thing that impressed me so much was when I went to Execa, because the grandchild took me on a tour to go show me the grave and then the monument of the father in the center of the Execa town.
Okay.
I was very impressed when I saw that they had erected a monument for him, and the picture that they used was the picture with his hand back and his coat that he was returning from the UN.
Okay.
So they wrote triumphant retour, the Nations Unies. So I do a lot of YouTube. When I go to Cameroon, I have, when they used to allow me.
Yes, and you even went to John Frundi's residence. That was also an elaborate video. And you also went to Liberty Square?
And this must be the compound where people were locked in for months after the 1992 presidential election. In this place that is called Liberty Square, is historic because 6 citizens were killed, shot and killed here. What is very sad.
The same video that you saw, I think the title is Christmas Ebini Exploring Bamenda.
Yes.
Yes, I went to Frundi's compound. That recording has brought some controversy that people were saying that he's gonna sue me. Well, I didn't know. Liberty Square to me, Frundi, you know what Frundi.
No, you said it all.
You know what Frundi has become, right?
Yeah, we know.
That's a man whom, in our own era, we worshipped him, right?
Yes.
So you know what he has become. And then I was at Liberty Square. Liberty Square is very historic.
Yes.
That is where 6 people died for Frundi to be who he is today.
And you said it all on the video.
Exactly.
And you also, there was also another video on Jacques Ekindi.
Jacques Ekindi is a close relative of mine.
Okay.
Okay, so I interviewed him because I wanted him to talk his perspective. Because Jean-Jacques Ekindi, when he was doing his party away from, when he resigned from CPDM, you know, he was the president of the Littoral branch of the CPDM before he resigned to do the MP. What is that? His other party is MP, I think. I don't remember. But I'd interviewed him because at that time we were still lurking around this concept of federalism, right? So I went and interviewed him because Jean-Jacques Ekindi had this tendency to talk to, when he talks to Anglophones, he talks about federalism. But when he talks to Anglophone and Francophones, he does not mention it.
Okay.
So we had a little chat with him.
Yes, so what message do you have for the Amber Boys fighting on the ground?
I'm telling you, when you say I've been silent in this struggle, I am celebrating.
Okay.
I am celebrating to see that.
I want them to hear your voice. So look at the camera and give them your message.
I am
as a leader.
I am celebrating because for us to be where we are today, that this struggle, that when we're talking about it, people look at us as troublemakers.
Okay.
That even the people who could spit in my face to talk about Southern Cameroons have been more hardened than me.
Thank you.
And for me, I could never have slept and seen and even noticed that there's this type of courage that our boys on the ground. So all my appeal is that I thank you. I thank you very much for your courage. I thank you very much for your sacrifice. And I pray that God would continue to guide you to resist these evil terrorists who are invading our people and torturing our people. This is my message to you. We would never abandon you. We would never forget your sacrifices. And to our people who have been displaced, the children in refugee camps, God would bring us through all of this. We will do our little best. We cannot satisfy everybody because the thing that we will do our little best to never forsake you. And thank you all so much for your sacrifices.
So, Mr. Ebini, so you're saying that you are supporting the struggle. You are a very controversial figure based on what most of the people say. Why do you think you are controversial?
Well, you know, for some people, I look at some people who use that word controversial, and I look at them and I just laugh.
Okay.
Because I think that the interpretation.
Well, they don't know where you stand.
It's just like somebody said, he became strong head. You know, if you look at our culture, most of our genesis, because of the way our culture is set up, most of our intelligent children have been condemned because a child would ask an adult, he will ask Papa, why you tell me make I not do this, but you did one? And they crack his head.
Okay.
Or they take the child, go for medicine, Mama go close his eye, say get 4 eye because he be intelligent. So that thing they talk controversy, I have never known what people mean by it.
Okay.
Is it because that I stand on what I believe in that makes me controversial?
We don't know. You tell us.
No. The people who say I'm controversial should tell me why I'm controversial. If you think that if being controversial is to call a Tanganji an idiot, then I'm controversial.
Okay.
If being controversial is to stand and tell all the people at this time of our struggle that we are trying to bring unity and fight and defeat a common enemy, but they are struggling for relevance and significance and writing all this big book against each other and making audios and videos insulting and bringing up conspiracies theories to keep us back, then I'm controversial.
Okay. So, but the message is, you are not withdrawing from the struggle that you started so many years ago. You are still fighting, correct?
Why would I withdraw? This struggle is in my blood.
Okay. So they say they have not been hearing from you. So at least we thank you very much for coming so that they can hear your voice again. We thank you very much. And we want most of them to know that you are really a writer. Once again, I really want them to know that they can get your books. When can they buy these books so that they can get your vision?
Well, let me tell you something. This book.
Black Latino.
I just ordered a big bundle of it.
Okay.
So what is happening is that for me to encourage contributions towards to take care, because when you look at the eyes of our children in the refugee camps,
yes,
you can't sleep well without doing something.
True.
So this Black Latino, I have copies, and I've dedicated it to the interim government.
Okay.
Anybody who makes a contribution to my trip to Boya, gets a free copy autographed by me.
Okay.
Okay.
So how can they get a book? How can they contact you? Do you have a phone number?
Yes.
If you have a phone number, read it on the air so that they can.
My number is 301 758 0263. Again, 301 758 0263. Or they can contact
any email, or are you on Facebook?
Well, I'm on Facebook. That number is on Facebook. I'm all over. No, I'm on Facebook. I'm on WhatsApp. I do a lot of WhatsApp these days.
Okay.
So any person can contact me, or you can contact the Secretary of State for Finance, Brado Tabenyang, Finance and Economy. I have dedicated this for them to encourage and to appreciate those people who have made a contribution to my trip to Boya.
Okay. What about the other book?
This one came out of the AAC1, Black and Echoes of Mount Mary.
Yes, I know. We used to see excerpts of this in the Cryer Magazine.
Yes. And,
so can we buy this?
Yeah, this one is, they have a Kindle version on Amazon. If you want a Kindle version, you can get a Kindle version.
Okay.
This is actually out of print, and I'm doing a new edition of it.
Okay. So do you think there's any question we've not addressed on this show today?
Well, and Prince Ojang, and thank you for letting me come here today to talk. My big, this struggle, this war, let me say war, because we are at war.
We're at war. The images, the carnage, the burning of villages, the burning of people in their homes.
This war is on two fronts, two main fronts.
Okay.
I am keeping away the diplomatic one, which will force the hands in due time.
Okay.
But we have two fronts now to fight this war.
Okay.
Our fighting forces of resistance, and then the humanitarian side. We cannot lose either.
Thank you very much.
If we win militarily and we lose on the humanitarian side, we would have a big problems in our hand. So I am just appealing to our people that we should support our brave warriors to continue resisting these evil terrorists who are approaching us, and then we must take care of our displaced people, those in prison, those who have been injured. Let us contribute. Even just $10 a month commitment. And I know you go very far, please.
You were talking about the Aya Foundation?
Yes, the Aya Foundation too. I am so I am so much carried away
Okay.
with the activities of the Paul Biya Foundation.
Okay.
For myself, I started contributing this month. My contribution to $500 personally.
Okay.
That I'm contributing. Next month, I'm thinking of my personal contribution just to the Biya Foundation will be $1,000.
Okay.
Because there's so much work to be done.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate you coming and sharing these ideas with our people. Thank you very much, Mr. Ebini Sisiku. Of course, just know that Sisiku is the biggest title in my new division, our traditional Ekpe group. Mr. Ebini is a leader in that group, and that's why they call him Sisiku, just like Sisiku Ayoktabe. I know most people don't know that much about him, but he's also a Sisiku. He can tell you about his coronation. There's even a video of his coronation on YouTube that you can watch, and you will follow up what happened when he became a Sisiku.
Fongbe, Sisiku, Sheikh Christmas Ebini of USA, Ajao, Tobe Tree, Ashu Ebini, alias Mako Dola.
Thank you very much.
And let me just say this, and I would have said this. Patriotic greetings to our adopted leaders from Nigeria. Sisiku, you planted a good seed. You did your best. You did your patriotic job. Give love to all our comrades. Your spirit is still with us, and we are going to overcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Take me to this place where I can get my taxes done. You know I'm trying to buy a new house. What's up?
Let's get it on. If you're searching for a house, call up my man Prince O'Jones, the best in real estate. Take it from your guy's shape. When I say his services are the best in the states where he's born, he even take care of your tax forms, fat refunds. So come, get your business done. Consultations, financial organization, fast processing, no waiting. This man is amazing. The Prince.